Okay, girls, this is our video for 13.2. I've already highlighted some things, so I can go quickly. So some vocabulary. A population is a group we want to know something about, so a really big group, everybody. And a sample is a group taken from the population. We already knew those two words, I think. Okay? Population is usually a smaller group, so we could say our population is all the girls at St. Monica's. That could be a population, unless we're using a census, and then it's everybody, in a country. Still a small group of everybody in the world. Excuse me. The size of the population, the big group, is represented with a big N. So if we're talking about everybody at St. Monica's, that would be N, and the size of the sample represented is with a little n. Sometimes the population size is unknown. So in this example, 2,034 people volunteered for a COVID-19 vaccine trial, and 800 were chosen. So identify the population size and the sample size. Well, that's definitely the sample size, but the population is not just people who volunteered. Okay, the population could be much bigger than that. Just because they volunteered doesn't mean that that's the whole population that we're studying. So for this one, N is unknown. Okay. Now, a parameter, kind of a new word, is a characteristic of a population. So we know from the census how old our population is, for instance. We might not know it exactly, but it's still a population parameter because we have it on a census. A statistic is a characteristic of a sample. So the parameter is generally not exactly known, but a statistic is known, and it's used to estimate parameter. So let's talk about the difference here, okay? So there are 30 little people here. The population size N is 30. And the population parameter is, well, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red people out of 30, or pink people. Over here, the little n is the sample. So we did a random selection of 6. So 6, and the statistic proportion, p hat we call it, and that little tiny thing is on the top, we call it p hat, like it's got a hat on its head, is 1 pink person out of 6. Okay, so that's the difference between a parameter and a statistic. In this unit, we're going to be studying binomial data, so that's really good. We have success or failure as an outcome. That makes life easier. All right, this one says, identify the following as either sample statistics or population parameters. So 43% of voters polled say they are in favor of banning fast food. Well, I think that of voters polled say they're in favor of fast food, I would say that that's a statistic, right? It's a bunch of people that were polled. It's not every voter. According to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, the average family has 1.7 children. That's a parameter. This one says between 18% and 23% of Australians skipped breakfast regularly. Well, that's not an exact known thing, so we'll call that a parameter. It's an estimation. 9 out of 10 children prefer cereal for breakfast. Yeah, that's an exact thing, so I must have done that from a sample. So I think that's a stat.